aura of the asylum continues to affect the local neighbourhood, as here we see Jesmond Urbida dressed as some sort of ornate Grim Reaper. We return to Elgars' story today to pick up the third milestone of his aspiration. He will have to reach level 6 of the gardening skill, graft 3 plants and fertilise 5 plants, all of which he should be able to do relatively quickly. As Elgars is already at level 5 of the gardening skill, he already has the ability to graft plants, and so he can perform 3 grafts now and check off another part of this stage of his aspiration. And just like that, Elgars has checked off one more part of his aspiration. Now all he has to do is fertilise 5 plants and reach level 6 of the gardening skill, which he's very close to doing already. And after applying a little bit of fertiliser, Elgars has checked off one more part. The third milestone of his aspiration has been relatively quick and easy for him to achieve, although the fourth milestone will be a little bit more difficult. Elgars is obviously getting increasingly keen to leave the asylum because he is now on his own with Susan. And as Elgars achieves level 6 of the gardening skill and moves on to the final milestone of his aspiration, he will now have to reach level 10 of the gardening skill, grow a cow plant, and evolve 10 excellent plants, and he has already done 6 of these. After a little bit more time of diligently attending to his garden, Elgars reached level 7 of the gardening skill and had evolved 7 excellent plants. He was having a little difficulty getting a cow plant to grow, but that was in large part due to the fact that there's not really a lot of space in the asylum. One of the biggest distractions for Elgars completing his aspiration is that he is often angry. He doesn't have the hot-headed trait, but sometimes he just does get angry. Unlike some people, Elgars actually enjoys being angry, which is something that we have to keep an eye on, because when he gets enraged, he could put himself into serious harm's way. But Elgars doesn't really think that way. He enjoys the thrill of being angry and getting to act upon his rage. Elgars, however, did have some moments of happiness, like when he tended his garden completely naked. I would like to say that this is because he has the erratic trait, but it's just as likely it's because he's an exhibitionist. After a little more work still, Elgars had reached level 8 of the gardening skill and evolved 8 excellent plants. In between time spent working hard on his aspiration, Elgars liked to work hard working out, and of course he did this completely naked, because this would not be the asylum challenge if the residents did not go about doing their daily tasks completely naked. Before too long, Elgars had reached level 9 of the gardening skill and evolved 9 excellent plants. Now it seemed the one thing that would hold him up would be waiting for the cow plant to grow. And after evolving one more plant to excellent, Elgars had achieved 10 out of 10 plants evolved to excellent. Now all he had left to do was max his gardening skill and get that cow plant to grow. And after a little bit more time talking to plants and researching plants, Elgars finally reached level 10, maxing his gardening skill and checking off one more point of his aspiration, leaving just one step left before he has completed it entirely. And naturally, Elgars celebrated this achievement by getting naked, because what else would he do? And the next day, out of nowhere, it appears that Elgars has completed his aspiration, which means the cow plant must have finally matured. Although it didn't mature in the morning with the rest of the plants, apparently it's popped up at some point during the day. And there we have it. Elgars has grown his own cow plant and completed the freelance botanist aspiration. Elgars can now finally leave the asylum. 7 inmates completed, and that means there's just 1 left. And just like that, Elgar's story has come to an end. He has escaped the asylum and joined Freedom House, which means we just have 1 inmate left in the asylum. And it's Susan, which means that in the next episode we will be telling Susan's story. Join us next time as we suffer through it. Is the cow plant at least hungry? Can I feed her to the cow plant? Apparently not. Elgars and Susan are sitting here having a nice conversation, even though Elgars is in the nude, and Stuart walks in the nude, and the two of them just spontaneously start fighting. This has been happening a lot, particularly with Stuart and Elgars, where they just spontaneously start fighting, and I think that maybe is just what this challenge has really been all about, because before that, it was Glenn and Carol that kept just spontaneously fighting with each other for absolutely no reason.